Okay. All right. Yeah, I found if people every time I do a lecture, people want to know what about your own past lives? Do you know anything about them? And yeah, whenever you're doing hypnosis, you do have your own sessions along the way. And so I've known about many of mine. I know about 8 of my past lives, but there were 2 that were the most important. But the one that really explains why I'm doing what I'm doing was the one I had when I was at the Library of Alexandria, right before it was destroyed. And my viewers know anything about history, they know that it was destroyed way, way back. I think it was, I don't know, 70s AD or something. It's way back there. It's when the library was destroyed. But at that time, I was one of the caretakers of the scrolls, I guess you would say. I didn't know how to read, but I worked in the library taking care of the books and getting them for the scholars that would come in to read them. But in that life, I died whenever the people came in and began setting the library on fire, piling the scrolls and books up and started it on fire. So it was a very traumatic regression. But it ended up, it's in the book that when I went to Bulgaria, several years later, there we had a session, was filmed for a Russian television program, documentary. And when we did it, the man that I was doing the session with is the man who brought me to Bulgaria. And in the session, just for the demo, we didn't know what was going to happen. He goes back to the same lifetime in Alexandria. And we saw the connection later because he was involved in getting knowledge back by bringing people in and getting books translated into Bulgarian. And he was doing the same thing I was doing, trying to recover lost knowledge. But no, he didn't know anything about it. And even during the session, I didn't let on that anything was going on until it was over with. And then he was also killed with they came in and burned the library. But we were walking back to the hotel. I said, boy, I have a story to tell you. Because I've always said I'm the reporter, the investigator, the researcher of lost knowledge. Knowledge that has been lost, forgotten, or never known at all. And I think it goes back to that, the heartbreaking past life of seeing it destroyed and all lost and burned, and then to bring back that this is my job now to bring it back to the world. At one lecture, I was on a panel and they wanted to know about that, and I told that story, and one of them said, yeah, but do you have to rewrite the whole library? Well, one of them was in Athens at the Parthenon, and I remembered that one. I remember dying in the Parthenon, inside that temple there, where I was killed. But it was very traumatic, a past life, but then when I went there, this was years later, I went to Athens, and my friend took me to the Parthenon. It was like very strong deja vu. I've been here before. I know this place. I can tell you exactly where the statue was. I can tell them all about that. And the statue was different than the way the scientists say it was. Of course, nobody has a picture of it. This is the statue of Athena. It's supposed to be inside the Parthenon. It was a huge statue. And they always show her as standing. And when I saw her, the way I remembered, she was sitting. And that was the difference. And she had an outstretched arm, and on the end of the outstretched arm, she had a lantern that lit up the whole temple. But nobody really knows what the statue looked like because it was destroyed many years ago. But when I was there and I came out of the temple looking out on Athens below, and as you look out to the Mediterranean, I told my friend, if this is the right place, I'll be able to see the Mediterranean from here, because in the past life I could see boats out there, the simple boats they had in those days. And she said, yes, there it is right there. It was exactly what I remember. But it was a really bad death, but I said that still I was very excited to see it. This is where it happened. I know it happened here. So it wasn't traumatic to be there again. It was just that this really did happen. It was here. So anyway, I decided to put it in the book because every lecture I give, people say, do you know anything about your own past lives? But I don't do it anymore because you don't need to. It's a tool. It's a valuable tool to find out what you need to know, but then you don't have to do it anymore. You go on with your life and live your life normal. You don't need to keep going back and revisiting past lives. I said you don't want to be a past life junkie to where you have to keep doing it over and over again. There's no need for that. You find out what you need to know, and you move on with your life. Apply what you've found, and that's all you have to do. At the end of Convoluted 3, I said, well, I guess you have told me everything there is to know now. There isn't anything else left for you to tell me. And they said, oh no, there's more. There's a lot more. And then I left the book at that, at the end of Convoluted 3. And then it was only a month later, just enough time for me to get it to the printers, the information began coming through again. Even more compounding. And you just have to have an open mind is that, whoa, I've never heard these things before. So that's why we have more for Convoluted form. And I said I took over 300 pages out because it was going to be a 900-page book. It's a little hard to explain fully because I still don't really understand the entire concept, but it's better in the book. But it's the idea of, you know, we are an illusion. We're in a play. I've said that many times before. We are acting in our own play. It's just a game. It's just a play. It's just an illusion. So you are the producer, director, actor, and script writer of your own play. The only thing is the script is being written as you go along. That way you can change it at any time. So these other souls that you have made contracts with to come back together with to play certain parts in your life. And in my lectures, I say some of the ones in your life now that are your greatest villains, the ones who are really giving you a hard time, may have been your best friend on the other side. When you're making your plans, they're going to come back, okay, I'll play this part, I'll play that part. They decide, okay, I'm going to be the villain. And some of them play their parts very, very well. But when they get to the other side, after the life, then they're laughing about it. Hey, I was a pretty good villain, wasn't I? I really taught you a lot, didn't I? So that's what you have to think about. They're all just playing a part, and you prearranged for them to play that part before you ever came into the life. Okay, now you've got the concept of it's a play. Everybody is playing their parts. The backdrop people, they said, when you're putting on a movie or a play, you have all the extras that are in the background. The people that are just walking through the scenes. You know, you see them on the movies and on TV. They just walk through the scenes. They're the extras, the bit players. These are the backdrop people. So you have all of these people just filling up space, just filling up the scenery. And they're not real. That's why I was wondering, they say you should smile at people, you should give them attention. Do we then pull them out of the backdrop or what? It's a complicated concept. It's like everything I've come across. When I first got it, it was like, wait a minute here. But then I would get more and more information as I go along, and I know it's going to be explained better than this. I come up with my own ideas as I'm writing that chapter. Other people may not agree with them. They may want to come up with others' ideas. I know it's going to cause some conversation, and people may be able to explain it better than I can. But they said they're just not real. They are just energy. They're not. They don't have souls like everyone else. They're just brought in to fill up your play that you are experiencing. So that is another concept that is unusual. You wanted to know what I'm finding. I'm still finding things that do bend your mind.